So tomorrow is the 2-year anniversary of my dad's passing. He died from cancer. It was lung cancer, and it happened really fast. And it triggered a complete change in my life, and I'm going to talk about that today. So, in March of 2024, we went to visit my dad for his birthday, and he was looking very unhealthy. He was looking really thin, and it was worrying me because I had never seen him like that before. And long story short, he ended up going to the hospital, and in April, they diagnosed him with stage 4 lung cancer. And 2 months after that, he had passed, right? June 25th is when he passed. And, when it happened, it took a while to process. I think I didn't even process the fact that he had cancer. Like by the time he died, I had still not even processed the whole diagnosis. So it happened fast, and it was a lot. Somehow got through it, but it caused me to question a lot of things, because at the time, I was into, I say at the time, but this has started decades before. I'd always been seeking spiritually for an answer for something, right? Because I knew that there was something more than the physical. That was very evident to me since I was young. And I was just curious about what it was. So, you go looking for these things, one thing leads to another. I feel like I had tried everything. I did yoga, I did meditation, I did Sanskrit mantras, I did plant medicine, ayahuasca, hape, mushrooms, also drugs before all that, alcohol, weed, just a bunch of stuff, right? And on this journey, I'd gotten to where I felt like I tried everything. Did crystals, did manifestations, did everything. And I was looking back on my life, because this was October after my dad passed, which is the month of my birthday, and I always self-reflect on my birthdays. And I was sitting there and wondering why, after all these years doing all these things, did I feel like I was still in the same spot spiritually. Yes, I had grown in certain things, but I still felt empty. I still felt like I didn't have the answers I was looking for. And I started crying and just saying, this can't be it, right? I'm missing something, this can't be it. And that was essentially a prayer that ended up being answered. So I ended up, okay, let me backtrack. When my dad died, my whole life, my dad had been, pretty much an alcoholic and a cigarette smoker. But right before he died, he wasn't. He didn't even explain it, other than he just said, he had prayed to God, which my dad was never a religious person. But he was praying, and how could you not? You're dying and you know it, right? And God had taken away his addiction. He no longer wanted to drink. He no longer wanted to smoke. Mind you, up until this time, my father was still trying to smoke, knowing that that is what caused the cancer, knowing that it was not good for him. He was still trying to smoke cigarettes. But then one day he woke up and that urge was gone, that addiction was gone. And, you know, he had more of a peace about him. And that, like, it struck me because it's like, how do you, like, what happened, you know? So anyways, I'm there crying out to whoever is the God of the universe, right? Like, just desperate for something. And not long after, I stumbled across a deliverance video. I was watching deliverance videos. This one was by Isaiah Saldivar, and you know, I was, I guess, more out of curiosity. So I was watching that, and it got to the end of the video, and he did a prayer, and there was like renunciation and stuff, and I was doing it, but more just so like listening, and I wasn't really like expecting anything. You know, it was more out of curiosity. But the next thing I know, my body just begins to shake uncontrollably, and it's like something's taking over. Something like moved it, like it, I had no control. And then like for a second I was scared, but then I realized like no, this is something coming out. And so I let it happen, and something was pulled out of me, something came out. And when it stopped, I heard, it wasn't an audible voice, but I heard a voice in my left ear say, "You're free." And this was the first time I ever experienced anything like this. And I just remember thinking, like, oh my gosh, like the devil's real. Like, demons are real, the devil's real, which I kind of like knew before, but it's different to have like an intellectual knowing versus like a tangible physical experience, you know, like an undeniable thing. And that's what this was. And my next thought was, if the devil's real, that means God's real too. And that changed everything, because